time to break down the sleepers in this year's draft, and I will kick things off. And it's kind of perfectly tying into things here, because talk about transferring and guys who transfer to put their name out there and do what they have to do to get better. My guy did not transfer, but he toughed it out. He stayed all 4 years at Clemson, and I'm talking about Mario Goodrich, the cornerback out of Clemson. He stayed all 4 years at Clemson to put on the tape, to learn and get better from the guys ahead of him, like AJ Terrell or Trayvon Mullen, those type of guys. Mario Goodrich is my sleeper pick this year. He doesn't have like the speed to like have those special types of interceptions, but get this, he averaged only 2.06 yards of separation per route. So only 2 yards was at most his separation throughout the season at Clemson. This guy is a special type of player. He broke his ribs and played through it at the Senior Bowl. He allowed no touchdowns last year in 2021. He was the 2021 Corner of the Year in the ACC. We're talking about Andrew Booth going in the first round for cornerbacks. That was his teammate. Andrew Booth didn't win Cornerback of the Year for the ACC last year. It was Mario Goodrich. He had the second lowest passer rating allowed at Clemson since 2014. That's better than guys like AJ Terrell. That's better than guys like AJ Booth or Andrew Booth. Mario Goodrich is a very good cornerback. I was like racking my brain. I'm like, who do I want to be my sleeper? Who do I want to really be my sleeper? I want to dig deep here. He's projected to go in like the 4th, 5th round. This dude is a baller. He's going to come in and be a starter in the NFL day one and be a very good cornerback for whatever team drafts him. He's a stud. And I wanted to bring this last thing up here. I went through the chart. I got this tweet here. We talked about transferring, and it's funny we talk about it and how Tyrann Mathieu viewed it a few years ago, saying, I hate the transfer portal. I sat behind Patrick Peterson, Maurice Claiborne. I loved it. It made me work harder. It made me hustle harder. It pushed me to greatness. That's exactly what has happened here with Mario Goodrich. I feel like Mario Goodrich is that dude who has been working with greatness, working with other NFL caliber cornerbacks and NFL wide type wide receivers. T. Higgins, those type of players were at Clemson he was matched up against. So Mario Goodrich is that dude, and he's going to be the sleeper of this year's draft. And he could end up being you could end up seeing him in the defensive rookie of the year race next year. That's a little far.
I'll say 2 things here. I like him more than I like Andrew Booth, to be honest. I have not really. I know Andrew Booth has the talents and the physical traits that have people in the NFL level seething. But I like Mario Goodrich's play a little bit more than that. There was a reason he was a team captain at Clemson. The other thing is I like that message from Tyrann Mathieu, but he also played at DBU just about. The guys that come out of LSU, you have the reason to stay away. You're not going to learn that type of stuff all the way at Clemson. There's some guys that were good. You mentioned the AJ Terrells and things of that nature, but not everybody has that. It's not like Malik Willis was sitting behind some of the greatest quarterbacks in college history. And at quarterback, you only have a finite amount of time to show what you can do. So I get it. And I also say some people may not be built. Tyrann Mathieu is different. Is different. He's built to wait because he knew he was going to be able to put on tape, you know?
Yeah. Well, you brought up a very good point, though. It's if you're not transferring, if you're staying there and willing to work behind these guys, it's because of what is in front of you is going to be able to give you that. In the case for Malik Willis, what we talked about earlier, there's no one at Auburn. Like, you're not getting the rub basically at Auburn.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the rub. So I'd rather go somewhere and get the tape if I'm not getting the rub from greatness ahead of me. That's what happened with Mario Goodrich here. He's going to be that guy. He's seen it. He's worked with it. He's the next man up. And he is, I mean, this dude, all the talk is about Andrew Booth. Booth might not after what I have seen and really scouted on these two guys, I don't even think Andrew Booth was the best cornerback at Clemson. Mario Goodrich.
I don't think he was either. There's something to say when you're being attacked as a cornerback. It means they don't really fear you. And to me, that's a trait of being a defensive back.
And that's what I love the most. And this will be the last thing.
You good.
I mentioned it at the beginning of it all. He doesn't have the speed to make those special interceptions, but his athleticism is what helps him disrupt passes. So he's not going to be the guy you're going to see just pick the ball off 10 times a season, but he's going to be that guy who's going to be that pass pass breaker, whatever you want to. He's going to be the guy who's going to be able to get that to separate the ball from the receiver, keep up with them, and make plays like that, like a Darrelle Revis, who's also one of my favorite quarterbacks of all time. So there you go. Who's your pick?
All right. Bailey, I see you there in the chat talking about Isaiah Spiller as your sleeper. My thoughts are I do like Isaiah Spiller. I think he's got burst. I think he's got the explosiveness that some of the top guys, I won't say lack, but, maybe doesn't show as much as he does. I didn't quite go there, but I was in the same realm. I went running back, and it's another guy y'all may not have heard. You may remember me last year talking about Mr. Jared Patterson from Buffalo. He's going to come on a little bit strong with the Washington Commanders. You just wait. I got you another running back that I think is going to be fire, and it is Mr. Pierre Strong Jr. from South Dakota State. That's right. I went to the FCS to find my running back because this guy is talented. He might have a case of being one of the best running backs in this class when it's all said and done. He's got burst through the line and breakaway speed. He was tied for the best 40 time with running backs at the combine, running a 4.37, and he did that at 5'11", 205 pounds. Once he finds his break, you're almost not going to stop him. It's very hard. As you can also see, he doesn't shy away from contact, and he's really good at his pad placement. Once you know contact is imminent, he gets his pads to the right spot, and he's putting somebody in the dirt if he can help it. His breakaways are sudden. His breakaways are decisive. And once he puts that foot in the ground, it's going viral. Everyone's seeing it. We're talking about a guy who rushed for 4,527 yards, 40 touchdowns, not a single fumble lost. And he's got an arm. 9 for 9 and 6 touchdowns in his career passing the ball. And lastly, a breakaway talent, a home run hitter. Over 10. Count them 10. 50-plus yard touchdowns. This guy is going to be great. He is going to be fantastic. And anybody who wants to pick him up as a running back is going to be very, very happy. So, if we miss out on Kenneth Walker in the second round, we can go get this dude in the 4th and 5th, and I'd be very happy.
Hey, there you go. So your last year's pick was Jarrett Patterson at running back?
He was one of my sleepers. He was one of my sleepers.
Because we
I don't know if he was the sleeper. I think he was the sleeper for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was too. And that's why I was looking back. I was like, okay, I was trying to remember who mine was. Mine was Kerry Vincent Jr., the cornerback at LSU, who was traded this year to the Philadelphia Eagles. He was drafted by the Denver Broncos and then traded for a 6th-round pick. So my sleeper, hopefully my sleeper hits better this year as opposed to last year. But Jared Patterson, that's a good sleeper. And this year you could have the same.
He had some run.
Yeah, you could have the same. Real quick, we're going to start rounding out this show here. Real quick thoughts. So Isaiah Spiller, good sleeper for Bailey. You had that question in the chat. I wanted to make sure.
I like Isaiah Spiller, man. He's going to be decent. I think about these running backs and these small school guys. Think about Eli Mitchell, who came in the 6th round last year, UCL Lafayette, and look what he was able to do. I think about Kareem Hunt when he came from Toledo, another guy with 0 fumbles lost in his career. Maybe my sleeper will lose his fumble on his first carry, so that way we know he'll be great. It's another. I said this last week. If you know how to play receiver, you know how to play receiver. It's kind of the same with running back. And if people want to talk about the competition, just because you're able to break ankles in the FCS doesn't mean you can't do it in the NFL. It may not look as dirty, it may not look as nasty, but it's still gonna work. So I like both. I like Isaiah Spiller. I think he comes from good stock and should have a decent career if he can hack it all out.